Thank you so very much for being here. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. We're very super glad to have you join us wherever it is you have done that around the world. We say thank you and welcome to our show today. I am Henry Igwebike, and let's start today from our newspapers just to let us in on what we have to talk about today, and from there would be our main conversation also. Please do well to be part of what we do, have a say in what we say. You can find reachers when you visit us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. Very so honored to have joining us virtually is Emeka Madunago, journalist, public affairs analyst, development communicator, and he joins us from Lagos State, Nigeria. Good morning to you, Emeka, and welcome to Enterprise.
Yeah, good morning. My pleasure. Good morning.
Thank you so very much for your time. Now, let's start today with the Punch newspaper. We have big story. Oral revenue row. The presidency defends Tinubu as legal titans split over executive order. We equally have below that story, Lagos International Airport in Fano grounds passengers sparks a travel chaos. We equally have on the top strip, alleged genocide. The U.S. Congress panel submits a Nigeria report to Donald J. Trump. We have on the matters, Jenko's dump presidency's 2.8 trillion naira deal. Of course, FCT polls, ADC candidates' obedience reject results. Emeka, let's start with the oil revenue row. But just before that, let's maybe talk about the FCT polls for a bit. ADC candidates' obedience reject results. Emeka, you watched and you saw the issue that had happened in Abuja during the council elections there. Lots of not so sad, not so good events, actually. Very sad ones, you would tell. What's your take generally on the elections that happened under Nyesom Wike as the FCT minister in Abuja?
Well, it's unfortunate. Hello.
Yes,
it's unfortunate that INEC declared the elections that validly conducted. Whereas in one polling unit that had about 315 voters on register, APC alone had 1,212 votes. I mean, I thought we had seen an end to such terrible is that the more things change, the more they remain the same. And so the elections, of course, just 7 to 10% turnout. It's very bad. It shows that, gradually people are losing interest in elections. And one day, let me tell you, surely, maybe it's the politicians who will bring their wives and children to vote for them. Because, honestly, the people will just prefer, since you are threatening, Nyesom Wike was going up, but he had no right to be going up and down. And it was not sanctioned by INEC. So that means in other states, governors can move around too. They can move around. And nobody should challenge them. I mean, what right did he have to be moving around? Threatening, making threats and all of that. Saying just vote and leave the rest to me. And it's unfortunate that the INEC chairman has not even addressed this. So this lends credence, to the belief that, look, INEC cannot be trusted to conduct credible elections. And it is a big shame. Thank you.
A very big shame it is. The presidency, President Bola Tinubu, had come to defend everything that happened on Saturday. The FCT minister equally was actually saying that the votes of the people showed that Nigerians were not interested in politicians. They were just social media activists. One would say is Mopiton living in the shadows of Professor Mahmoud Yakubu at this point, Emeka. Emeka, did you get that?
Well, it's surprising that Mopiton came out to say the elections went well. Well, if that's a signpost of the kind of election that INEC wants to conduct in 2027, we'll leave the polling units for them. Yes, let INEC conduct, I mean, let me tell you, 2027 election might just be, the turnout might not be even more than 5%. Yes, let Amopiton go ahead and conduct the worst election since Nigeria's independence. Maybe that will be a wake-up call, I mean, it's we had Mahmoud Yakubu, who was a big embarrassment, but this one, I'm moving on, is a worse embarrassment. Thank you.
Very well said. And this is a professor of law. Lots of people would say he should know better. We do not know why we have a serial transition of the bad and the worse happening every other time in Nigeria. When we thought that President Muhammad Buhari late was the worst thing that ever happened to Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu came over and did of course, what we see today and experiencing. Lots of people would love to go back to the days of Muhammad Buhari. You can imagine how sad the situation is. But Emeka, let's take a look at other matters. All revenue row. Presidency defense Tinubu has legal titans split over executive order. What are they speaking about here, and how would this affect Nigerians and the stakeholders, and equally people who are people who have a skin in the game, in the oil ecosystem?
Yeah, I think Bayo Onanuga, I read what he said and I was just laughing. I mean, Bayo Onanuga, he purported to have an understanding of the law. I mean, he should go to law school. He should go and read law. You know, his interpretation was just a huge joke. How can you tell me that the PIA is that a section violated the Constitution, and then in curing that alleged defect, you now had an executive order from the president? How? Every law is a part of the Constitution. Every law is a part of the Constitution. You have the Constitution, you also have laws that make up the body. You know, you have a body of laws. So for him to now have come out to say that the PIA violated it, the only way to cure it is by returning the PIA to the National Assembly for amendment. But he knows that he can't even trust his own party people not to, not to derail the process. He knows. Forget all these things you see, about so-called party solidarity. They are not together like that. They are not together. So, I mean, saying that bringing different sections, that this section says that oil minerals are vested in the executive. It didn't say it's vested in the president. It's vested in the executive to the extent of, of implementing laws, and not taking over the lawmaking function of the National Assembly. The president does not have such powers. Sorry, the president does not have such powers to take over the lawmaking functions of National Assembly. So the better thing for him is to take that PIA back to the National Assembly for a comprehensive review. A comprehensive review. Because there are other issues in the PIA which need an ability in order to take it back to National Assembly. Let National Assembly look at it and then tell us what needs to be done. But thinking you can cure a defect through an executive order, no, it cannot work. President Buhari tried it. He tried it through Executive Order 10 of I don't remember the year, and was it 2021, where he tried to get states to relieve local government funds. But he saw that it was something that he couldn't implement. It was just a waste of time. It was a big joke. Even when the Constitution review went through the state, the House of Assembly members, there was no concurrence on local government autonomy. Now President Tinubu went to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court just merely, re-echoed what was in Section 162, subsection 3. But to what extent have the states been implementing that? So the best thing is that you cannot put something on nothing. Take your observations to the National Assembly, which is dominated by your party. Take your observations and let the National Assembly do the necessary thing, in terms of amending the PIA. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Emeka. It's actually quite interesting what we see today in Nigeria's political scene. The president is becoming the legislature at this point, and one would ask if President Bola Tinubu truly does understand his roles and his responsibility as the president. Nigerians have always believed, all the world have always known, that leaders are placeholders. They are like conduits via which information are passed. But a situation where the president is taking over the responsibility of the legislature at this point, and of course, why is this even possible? Everyone is standing on the mandate, and there is no clear-cut difference any longer between the legislature and the executive under President Bola Tinubu. How long will this last? We do not know. But of course, we would keep feeding you with the information as they make open. But let's take a look at what's happening from the Guardian newspaper today. I make a very interesting one from the southeast of Nigeria. See it at home. Soludo shuts another market in Newi. Emeka, this cat and mouse game between Soludo and his people, how long would it last? Does Soludo understand that the time he would have used to allow for good governance, he is spending it on wild goose chase that he might not win at the end of the day? What's your take on this?
Well, Soludo is sad that he's only showing that he's seriously idle. He's seriously, underutilizing the office of the governor. I mean, there are very serious issues that demand his attention, but he's more interested in patrolling markets, like a market supervisor. He has put out attendance registers for traders to sign. But markets are under the province of local governments, not state governments. So he has no power over markets. That's one thing that should be made clear to him. He has no power over markets. But the sad thing is that the bar is keeping quiet. He's not saying anything. President Bola Tinubu is talking about local government independence, autonomy. But at the same time, you're not saying anything about what Soludo is doing, violating the powers of local governments, over the markets. Of course, it shows he's seriously idle. And it's clear that the state is in need of serious leadership, not this kind of leaders. Have you ever heard, the other day, Lagos State government shut Ladipo spare parts market? Have you ever heard that Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu went to Ladipo market to shut it? Have you ever seen him in any market? But when people don't understand that the office they occupy is an exalted position, of course, you see things like this. It's not unexpected. It's not unexpected. Let him continue. Maybe one day some elderly people will call him aside and tell him the extent of damage he's doing to the office of the governor of Anambra State. Thank you.
All right, we have to leave it at this point. Just to let us know, Emeka will be here to take us on our main conversation when we return. President Bola Tinubu pushes state police plan as insecurity deepens across Nigeria. In the Beat Enterprise Morning, it is. Don't go anywhere.